I realized that even though we've been out of school for over a month now, I've not taped an update, my last update for the school year. This was our 10th year of homeschooling, and it is amazing to me how far we've come and how much better I feel as far as like not feeling like I have to meet anyone else's ideas of what a good homeschool is. I'm going to do a video about kind of things I've learned over the last 10 years. So I won't go into it now because I still need to give it some thought. But 10 years, it's amazing. I'm going to kind of touch on general and then each of my kids. So if you watched my Plan My School Year With Me video last year, you know that I had a bit of a freak out on the camera about the calendar. I really felt like I wasn't going to get enough days in for my high schooler. And it ended up working out pretty well, especially because a big concern was that we were going to move this year. And we did not. We are here for at least one more year. That's probably the end of it, but sadly. But next year I may have the same freak out, but this year the calendar worked out much better than I thought. So not only did we have a move, but my kids did, they took 2 weeks to go to Israel with their grandparents in the fall, and then we did Disney World in January. So there were a lot of other things, plus we joined a co-op for the first time, so there was a lot more to manage with our school year. So thankfully that went better than I expected. Another year where I was pretty much a field trip failure. In my dream, that is probably the one thing that I would change about, if I had to pick one thing to change, more of that would be probably what I would do. Not necessarily big field trips, but just purposefully doing more field trips. I'm just not good at it. I'm always just hit or miss. It is what it is. I keep trying. We'll see where it goes from there. Now to start with my youngest, he's finishing 3rd grade. He turned 9 in April. And he had a good year. He is my one who, if I do not kind of stay on him, he just drifts off, like out of the room, like you won't even notice that he leaves type of thing, which is good that he can entertain himself, but sometimes it means that he doesn't complete his work if I'm not on it. So that's something I need to figure out how to handle a little better for next year, keeping a tighter schedule on him. He'll start with a planner next year, so that may help. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Otherwise, yeah, he had a good year, finished everything that he needed to finish. He started taking Chinese this year. I'm going to do Mandarin. I'm going to do a video soon. I'm hopefully getting more footage of it today, and then we'll tape. He's taking one-on-one live classes in an immersion situation, or classroom thing. I absolutely love it, and I cannot believe how far he's come. Yesterday's class, I think, was number 37, and I'm blown away by how much he has learned. Yeah, like I said, I'll talk more about it in a coming video. The place where we take it through starts at age 5, I believe. I think it's 5 to 12. So if you are interested in learning about more of that option, stay tuned. Ben is my 5th grader. He turned 11 in about halfway through the school year. He had a great year. His favorite thing this year, I think, was the mystery writing. I forget the name of it. I should have looked it up. I'll link it down below. It's from Teachers Pay Teachers, and it's a mystery writing where they take you step by step through the entire writing process, like brainstorming characters and then choosing one, brainstorming topic ideas, and the whole thing. it really is a great thing. I did it with Elizabeth a couple of years ago, and then I did it with Ben this year. I would really like to find something else like it for his main writing next year, but more, not just mystery. Like, I would like to be able to do like mystery, and then, I don't know, maybe nonfiction, and then, I don't know, I just like to see if I can find anything else, because he really loved it. And we started this year with writing and rhetoric, which he's done the past 2 years, and he really enjoyed him last year, but this year he just hated it. And I don't really know why, but I think that if we kind of did this as his main writing, I think that'd be really good. In addition to what he'll be taking with our co-op in the fall, I think it'd just be a really good balance. Another favorite thing for him was Tween Tribune. I had him read an article from Tween Tribune a couple of times a week. He would usually do it more often than that. But if you don't know, Tween Tribune, I talked about this in a how we use current events video. If you did the weekly readers when you were a kid, little magazine, like little newspapery type things, it's similar to that, like high interest articles. Sometimes they are about events going on in the world, but not like political current events, not like that. It's put out by Smithsonian. You can sort by topic, by reading level, by Lexile, by grade level. There's all kinds of ways to sort it. He really just enjoys them. They're just high interest articles for kids. So I'll try to link that. And he really liked it. For his grammar this year, we started out with Analytical Grammar Junior, because he'll do Analytical Grammar, the real version, starting this school year. So I just wanted to do that with him. And then we added Editor-in-Chief from Critical Thinking Company. And instead of buying the book version, I bought the app, and it was a great choice. I really liked the more interactive way he could use it versus the workbook. And then of course he can use it again next year. I can put Matthew on it, I could put Elizabeth on it, so you can have more than one profile. It was a great choice for him. Punctuation, grammar, he's not great with it, but I don't expect him necessarily to be at this age. I didn't really get it all well until I was in middle school, and my daughter didn't either, so I'm fine with him not having mastered it yet. He'll get there. So that's, the other thing is that he needed more this year. He ended up a lot of days just having extra time. And if I had been better about it, we could have better used that time combined with Matthew to do history or science in the mornings. We did not. I did not. And it definitely showed with our year. We were always running behind on history and science. But I'm okay with what we did this year. So, yeah, I'm going to rework the time schedule for next year so that we're better utilizing those little pockets of time. I can't say they were a waste of time, because he would usually just go read or watch a lecture from great courses. So it wasn't really a waste of time, just we could have used it better. And Elizabeth, I'm not going to talk too much about her, because we've done 2 high school videos. One where we talk about some of what her year was. One of them, she talked to future high school homeschool students and gave her advice on things that she wished she'd known, things she was glad she knew, things that resources she found helpful, that sort of thing. So if you haven't watched it yet, go grab your middle schooler, upper elementary, even your high schooler, and watch it together. She did a really good job on it, in my opinion. And then I did one on what I wish I had known going into high school to homeschool parents. So in those, we did talk about some about her year. So my biggest thing, well, first of all, I would say that she just did amazing. She really did well I was really concerned about how the year would go, but I shouldn't have been. She did well with it. We had a bit of a bumpy start, but it's pretty much to be expected with moving into high school. We also found that moving into middle school, those big just leaps, it just happens. So anyway, she did well. My biggest thing is transcript stuff. Now, I had watched all the videos and listened to people who said, make sure you get it started before the beginning of the school year because, it'll just save you time later. And I had the best of intentions and I didn't get it done. And so now I'm at the end of the school year trying to finish up all of that while I'm also starting to think ahead to the next year. So I'm having trouble staying focused on this year, all of that sort of thing. So if you have a student going into high school, get your transcript stuff started before the school year begins. You will save yourself a lot of energy. I do have a video where I'm going to share kind of how I did our transcript stuff from this year. So I've got it partially taped. Keep watching for more. Let's see, as far as subjects go, chemistry, she really did well with this year. More than, I shouldn't say she did better than I expected. She loved it more than I expected her to do. She really enjoyed the class. She's not necessarily growing up, she wasn't, like when she was younger, I wouldn't have labeled her as my big chemistry or my big science person. But looking back on it now, a lot of that was more because she doesn't enjoy things like animals or that sort of science. But now that she's moving into chemistry, she's really excited about biology next year. Those, apparently, I just had to kind of change what we did and pulled out some science loving in her. Her writing class, literature class, it was literary analysis, was better than I expected. She did well in it. The reading was a little bit difficult for her to keep up with, which we expected. We got her a couple of the audiobooks where we could. That helped. When she had to do Shakespeare, SparkNotes has a modern translation of Shakespeare that goes stanza by stanza comparing the original versus a modern translation, and that was a huge help for her. Overall, it was a good experience. She will be taking a British literature next year from the same teacher at our co-op. Her math class online was excellent. She did geometry again with my homeschool math class. I have a whole video about that. It was really good. I was really nervous about geometry because geometry it was bad for me. But our whole year was pretty much focused on proofs. Hers was not. So it went so much better than I expected. Last year, she should have taken geometry, but I held off because I was picturing it more like my geometry year, and I was really concerned about her having quite the right maturity level to be able to handle the toughness of it. As it turns out, she would have been fine last year. I still think the maturity of waiting to this year was probably a good thing because she could take it on so much more independently than she would have last year, but it was good. She had no problems with it, so next year she'll be taking Algebra 2 with Mrs. Perkins at my homeschool math class, and she's very excited about that. So history and science. For science this year, we did zoology, and honestly, a lot of what we did was, hey boys, go choose an animal show on Netflix. I chose it partly because I knew that my daughter was going to need some additional time from mom this year with 9th grade. And it worked out pretty well, actually. They learned a ton. I had looked at all kinds of different homeschool curriculum for zoology, looked at some Waldorf units. I looked at just all kinds of different ones that I would have necessarily even chosen. But my boys are science lovers or animal lovers, and so everything I was looking at was like, oh, they already know this, they already know this, they already know this. But doing anything higher level, like a middle school or high school level, would have been too much. So they learned a ton. I can't call it necessarily my best teaching, but that was what a lot of it was. And then we would do other things. We did some different drawings at different points in the year. We did a lot of on animal classification. We did some books together. You know, we did other things, but yeah, it wasn't my best as far as like spotlight on great homeschool teaching, but it worked. And then for history, we did Story of the World too, and along with Biblioplan. And I shared with one of my viewers, hello Karen, that it ended up, Biblioplan was, it was just too much. I really wanted it to work. I used it last year for ancient history, and I really wanted it to work then, and it didn't. But I didn't learn my lesson, and it was just too much extra and more moving parts. And that's what I was sharing with one of our viewers who was asking about it. It was a lot of things to manage, and I didn't manage it well, and so then I would avoid it because we were behind. I know, not the best, but that's the way I deal with things. And so I was perpetually playing catch up with history. And then about halfway through the year, I stopped caring so much about what Biblioplan said I should be doing, and I purchased Story of the World on audio so that we could listen to it in the car. And that was a big help because we were running errands or running to speech or music or whatever, then I could play it. And that way when we got home, we could focus on the questions and the map work and that sort of thing. So that was a good, it was a pretty good balance. We still use Biblioplan's companion reader through most of the year, and I do enjoy that. So I may end up adding that next year. I don't know, but just that part. I'm not going to go with the lesson plans and try and follow all of that. It's just not going to work for me. I'm accepting reality that is not who I am anymore. That's one of the biggest things I've learned is just accepting who I am and who I'm not as a homeschool parent. So, I'm going to look over my notes. I think that is all, which is good. I'm short on time because my camera doesn't have much time, and my son has one of his Chinese classes here in a few minutes. Everything looks good. After his class, I'm going live on Facebook, which obviously you're not going to see this in time to go live, but I'm going to talk about how I plan Story of the World. If you're interested in seeing that, an updated version, head over to my Facebook page and the video will be over there. Thanks for watching.